Good morning, class. We're back here for another one of our beautiful decking fights for the overdress format. And we're carrying on through the nations. We're now into the set 11 stuff. And we're going to be looking at one of the weirder interactions, and this is going to be Griphogila. So, Griphogila, for those who don't know, is the main anime villain for the Wildress Season 2 moving into Wildress Season 3. And it got a nice little bit of support in set 11 for extending its longevity. So the card that it's got is this card called Wildfire of Invasion. Now this is a Calamity Blitz order, so it can be searched with your other Calamity cards that say Cat +1 search deck for a Calamity. They're really nice to have. And it's got the skill of play this if you've got a Griphogila Vanguard. You can then choose one of your rearguard circles without a Dragontree marker, put a Dragontree marker on that circle, choose one of your units being attacked, and it gets 10,000 power until the end of the battle. And if you have a Vanguard with Griphogila in its card name, you give it 2,000 power instead of 10,000. You give it 20,000 power instead of 10,000 power. So, a 10k Blitz order into a 20k Blitz order for the late game is really nice. But this changes up Griphogila a fair bit. Because the Griffo Seed, when it's generating its 2 Dragontree markers, doesn't need to be to open rearguard circles. So this Blitz order now allows us to get Dragontree markers on the board before the Griffo Seed effect. So that when we go into our Griffo Seed, into our Griphogila, we can actually put a Dragontree marker on a circle that's already got a Dragontree marker. So what this will then do is the unit would then gain 10,000 power instead of 5,000 power. So it builds up really nicely. And lets you accelerate the deck a little bit more while still having the extra defensive power the Blitz order gains. You're then likely thinking to yourself, well, there's six different main nations plus all the other nations. What one are you going to show us? Well, the one I've been mucking around with combos off nicely with the Wildfire Invasion. That's going to be for Stoicheia. And that's due to their new Blitz order as well in the Sweet Honey Garden. So Sweet Honey Garden is a new Stoicheia Blitz order, and it's got the skill of paying it with cost, Soul Blast 1. You can then choose one of your units in battle, and it gains 15,000 power until the end of that battle. But if you've also got a Blitz order in your drop zone, this becomes 25,000 power instead of 15,000 power. So we're gaining extra shield in a deck that needs to have extra shield to survive the long game. So you're getting some really defensive plays to help drag out the game and get to that turn 6, I'm swinging with my over trigger. So have some really interesting fun. But let's move into the game and see how the game actually went. Alright, so we are in the game here. As you can see, we've got our 5 cards in our right deck. And just getting the early game done. We do win the coin flip, so we do get to go first. And as you can tell from the opening hand, we are actually against Stegria. So it's going to be very important here to do the early game guarding, because the late game numbers are going to be very big due to Epee Justice giving a double persona, right? But you can see we've got the good early game guard for the fact we've opened up double copy of the Dragontree Blitz. So we can get our markers on early in the game, as you're seeing from the game here. Generating our Dragontree marker, gaining 10k shield, making it a 1 to pass, doesn't get it. But then you can also see we've got the good offensive power coming in as well, because we've got the Burrow Mushrooms for the double token generation. Morpho, who, when she attacks, at the end of the battle she attacks, she can Cat Blast 1 bind herself to search deck for a Blitz. If you've got a Blitz in your drop zone, she can then search for any normal order instead. It's got to be grade 2 or above she grabs. So whilst herself she doesn't grab the Dragontree Blitz, she does combo off nicely, obviously, with Sweet Honey. But the other thing we also run in here, in Gather Upon Me Wandering Souls, to give more pressure to the Vanguard. So as you can see what our opponent's doing there, he's done Drilling Angel to get the grade 3 Dark Thegrit into Soul, to get that ready for the turn 3 plays. He's also played down his new grade 2, which discards a card to search out for the set order. So he's gone for Oath of Vengeance to get set up for extra draw power and normal power for Persona Ride turns. And as you can see from what we did, we managed to actually manipulate it, so we only took 1 damage out of that entire turn. Generated an extra force, the Dragontree marker, which now, obviously, as we're riding up, as I'll show you, Dragontree markers stack as explained at the beginning. So we now get 10k buffs to the row. To the circles, sorry, not rows. Play down the Burrow Mushrooms, get the double plant token, get our Morpho. Vanguard gains 20k and a crit, which is really strong. Swings in 33k plus a crit. He no guards. First checks a Sweet Honey for defensive, which is really good for us. And we've got the Nectar and Sensations. And I put this in the deck for the when you do the over trigger turn. When you can pop this on one side, swing in, restand both sides, and obviously Griphogila, when he activates the over trigger for Stoicheia, you can give a crit to the other side, so everything now does hard pressure from 4 damage. We don't need to give him any more now, so we're in a really good position. Obviously you use Morpho there to grab the Gather Upon Me Wandering Souls, because obviously I've got the defensive Sweet Honey in hand, so I'm not need for it, whilst the Gather Upon Me does let me dig deeper in the deck for extra shield by transforming out the Nectar of Sensations. But we do also run the Beast Eye Atlas to add back orders to hand as well, so we can discard the Sensation without worrying, because we can grab it back again in the late game. So as you can see, the opponent's doing his stuff there. He didn't get anything off of his grade 2 Thegria ride up. Puts down the Oath of Vengeance and just literally gets ready to start swinging. Grade 2 he's popped down here does have the ability of, when you've got a grade 3 in Soul, gains 5k and the ability to boost. So we do get a nice 25k column on the left hand side, due to that early setup of Drilling Angel putting the Dark Thegria into Soul. Then uses Light Thegria to actually get out a Painkiller, which is really good to the deck because it lets you utilise your Soul further to get specific pieces you want into your drop and actually build up your hand size at the same time. Opponent does go and hits the offensive red over trigger there, Valnort, and does give the 100 million and the restand to the Maple. So obviously this is going to be really pressuring for us, for the sheer fact of that Maple's pretty much going to be hitting twice because we do not have the hand to block it. Opponent does activate the Painkiller and draws into another grade 2 booster. So it does start to build up. Decides to swing of the Maple first, so obviously we take it. Hit the front, which is really good for us. That then makes the last column even hit easier to block. We take that as well, go to 4. We lose a Morpho, which is a shame, because obviously we'd like that for the following turn to go into another Sweet Honey. Then because of that front, we don't actually need to use this Sweet Honey though. So we do get to actually just block with a crit, pass turn, knowing that next turn is going to be massive. We do top deck into another Morpho, which is really good. Persona Ride, go into a crit heal. So in this matchup, not going to be useful, but still nice to have. We activate our Gather Upon Me to just draw extra cards. And have that triple drive on the Vanguard. We can now swing in 43 and a crit with the Vanguard, removing another one of our Calamities, forcing out that Perfect Guard, because it's what we need to do now, is we need to draw as many Perfect Guards out, so that when we get to our final push turn, the opponent can't do it. Heal there is very important to us, because obviously it keeps us in the running. And we just get the front as well, so we just might as well at that point really pressure our opponent, because they're going to be drawing a lot of cards in this upcoming turn. And obviously push them to 5 now, so they've now got to block everything. But we can then utilise our Sweet Honey now, not Sweet Honey, our Morpho, as we're doing there, to grab our Nectar of Sensations, because we are getting very close to actually hitting the 15 in drop. So it gives us we're gathering together our pieces for our win con. And then obviously Epee to Justice activates. after obviously he's cooling all his maples down, because obviously he's technically doing it out of order. The maples shouldn't resolve yet, because obviously you ride, then put a card from deck to soul after copying the name of what you've rode upon. So yes, he'll get his draw 2, then search, but the maples wouldn't technically call till after he's finished putting the card from deck to soul, but it's not going to affect game state. So he does take another light Thegria out of his deck, because obviously he just wants to compress his non-shield in his deck at this point. So putting the Thegrias into soul is really nice, especially for the fact of when you've got maple that can actually utilise adding the Sonorise back to hand. Because if you notice, he's now got 2 light Thegrias in soul, plus he's on his dark Thegria, so he can soul blast a light to add a light to hand with maple and get some really nice pressure out. So obviously just fixing his power there, because obviously Oath of Vengeance doesn't actually directly change the Persona Ride number, so it has to be done manually. So with this big of a number, I do actually drop down my fronts, because they do help in the fight against it. And then drop down another heal on top, puts me to 68, making it a 2 to pass for this column. First check's a heal, which is good, because that still keeps him within our kill range, because obviously Griphogilia's got the constant crit. But he does now obviously get his full Vanguard restand swing, does lose a drive, so we can obviously afford to take this one now. But does hit the worst trigger possible in the forms of a front. So obviously that now puts the pressure really on us, because we need to block everything. We do go to 5. He does sacrifice, obviously, his maple is going to die anyway, to give 5k to the other column, due to the other skill of the double rat, which is really nice. But looking through what we've got on our hand, we've got the Blitz there. We can Soul Blast one to become a 25k shield, which then puts us to 48. But we've then got to utilise the crit and the heal on top, just to make sure that we don't actually die. So we are not in the best of positions. Opponent does set up for the end game by Soul Blasting a Thegria to add a Thegria to hand. And we now know this is our final turn. We've got to really go aggressive. But we draw a perfect guard, so we might be able to drag the game out. So obviously calling down the Morpho to help dig further for the next Blitz order, because obviously we're going to be able to grab that at the end of the turn. Vanguard gains its usual 20k and a crit, moving the Calamity from Ride deck, so it guarantees it. Does, however, drop the crit counter heal, which does work against us, because obviously Griphogilia's crit is a separate effect. Does put himself into 1 to pass, but then drops the front as well to make it a no pass, because obviously our over trigger stuck in our Ride deck. First check's a Griphogilia, second check's a Bistaiatva, so we're not in the best positions, but we do decide to instead swing at the rear guard. Obviously, we've got to swing Morpho at the Vanguard, because Morpho's skill does need to specifically attack a Vanguard to get the Blitz order from deck to hand. So what we can see from our hand here is, if we somehow do survive the turn, we are able to go for the win con. But to survive the turn, we need to hit double heal. Pretty much. Because obviously all of his numbers are going to be big, for the sheer factor of there is so much numbers going to be added to his board due to the Oath of Vengeance. Obviously Persona Road, so he gets his double maples back out again. And then uses obviously the Thegria to just dig even further in his deck. But as you can tell from our opponent's hand, he's in a really good position already. By the fact that he's got the Blitz Elementaria Sanctitude, he's got the perfect guard. But he's just at this point compressing the deck, took the painkiller out that he didn't need, now has overcalled it with his grade 2 that can boost. Especially for the fact that it makes the magic numbers behind in the Vanguard column. Obviously this is 33, which for us, we know we can block this with the Sweet Honey. But I do decide to just take it, see if we get the heal, and we don't. So that was the game, and I'll catch you guys back in again for the breakdown. And here we are back with the list. So as you can see from here, really simple list. Most of the cards did come up throughout the game. But the key things I do want to point out here are actually the Burrow Mushrooms, because it's a really strong card for giving some free soul to pay for the likes of Morpho's second skill, which didn't come up in the games because we were already hitting massive numbers with our Morpho columns anyway. But what it does is obviously Morphos can say, if you've got Blitz orders in your drop zone, you can Soul Blast one to gain 10,000 power. But for that, you do need to have a 1 Blitz in there. So, not too hard to do, but really, really good for if you don't hit Persona Ride. Counter heal, obviously we did go for the crit heal. This was prior to Wallista being as common as she was, because this is a game was an old one. This came out. I did this not long after Epee to Justice got revealed, and where Wallista hadn't properly kicked off on the Japanese meta. So I'd gone for the crits, thinking it's going to be Gandivas and all that, because obviously I go into these games randomly, not knowing what our opponent's going to do. In hindsight, going for the... If, say we were doing it now, I would pick the restand heal over it, for the fact of, obviously you've got Wallista, but Epee to Justice restands, Chaos restands. The restand heals do become more important nowadays. Especially for the fact of, if I'd have had that resource heal against Egria, I may have been able to live due to having that extra little bit of shield, and be able to utilise the cards I've got in my hand accordingly. But nice simple list. Honestly speaking, Griphogila is going to remain a slow deck until they actually find a way to ramp up the speed of the deck. Now this is very likely going to be coming out once they actually buff Griphogila with his wave of support tied to Season 3 of the anime, because obviously they want to make him more threatening if he's meant to be the main villain, especially with the fact of anime starts soon. They've got to start showing it off properly, otherwise it's going to not gain the interest, which isn't good for a company. That's going to be it for this video. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It very much does help the channel. And I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye!